we just arrived at Conwy Castle. I guess that's a newer section in Wales. We're on the port right now with one boat seems to have sunk. Conwy Castle is significantly larger than the castle we saw yesterday.
Castle space is smaller. Castle walls are bigger. Longer. It encompasses the whole city.
That is amazing. But you can walk along the tops of the walls.
Yes.
Around the whole city.
Yes.
Little cottage. There we go. Jessica's purple hair standing out among all the green.
Yeah, they could make an effort to clean up all that.
Maybe this is the back side of the castle.
Oh, good. Could only be attacked by a man and a horse or two men. You couldn't get an army up there, it's not wide enough. You've managed to get through the drawbridge, you've burnt it down, you've scaled through, and you've gone through that murder tunnel. Okay, and then you've got your battering ram, great, and what have you got? You've got a passage this wide and a 90-degree turn to get to the main door. How do you turn your battering ram round? Clever thinking. Down there in the Barbican, that was a killing ground. So you've got, in the two towers, you've got the massive slits in the walls for the arrows. A good longbow archer could shoot 12 a minute. He would probably have one on his bow, one in the air, and all being well, one going into a Frenchman, all in the same minute. On a range of about 100 metres, out of 12 arrows, he could drop 10 in the same bucket. They were pretty good. One of the king's private rooms is just a lovely little bit that I like in this. The king's little balcony. Nice little bit of privacy there. If you just go in and have a look. And you start really realising how small people were, don't you?
Yes, we had that discussion. Especially on those spiral staircases.
Yeah. But again, I mean, look at the size of the lock, you know, the bolt, the piece of wood that will have secured the door.
Tree
You know,
trunk.
the message, once you actually got in, everything was good. This is the king's private room if you wanted to worship in private. That chimney, you could get a brazier going in here in the winter if it was cold. You can also get a shaft of sunlight coming down there straight up to his prayer book. And you can sit here and you can look straight down at the altar. Yeah. You've also got a little ensuite in there, which is not the comfiest of toilets by any means. My dad was a plumber, so I'm fascinated by toilets. But it's, you know, better the first drop on.
Oh yeah, that looks horrendous.
This will have all been wood panelled, it will have been tapestries, it will have been... They say that the first ever carpet came from Conwy Castle.
Oh.
Because one of his guests complained that there was a draft. And the king took a tapestry off the wall and laid it down on the floor. This is the northeast tower. We call it the northeast to make it easy for the Americans because it's at the north end of the castle on the east side. Okay, but it gives you a good idea how these things were built. When you see something like this, it's either a room or it's a storage room. If there's no fireplace, it will have been storage. Okay, windows or arrow loops. When you're going round the castle, if you can see something through it worth shooting, it would have been an arrow loop. If there was nothing there that you could shoot, it was a window. But you've got these two massive corbels coming out of the walls. You've got here and the other one there. Imagine a beam going across the top of this, a big arch, a decent sized tree. Coming across from where you cut into the wall there and up here, you've then got another massive beam sitting on top of that. And then going crossways on top of that, you've got beams going into where it's cut round there. That would then be the floor for the room above. Yeah? Once you start going above, you've got fireplaces. So that will have been obviously a room, somebody's chamber.
This is the fireplace.
You've got a fireplace, is it? This will have been a storage room.
And it has a chimney.
Yeah. One of my favourite little pieces in here that most people just walk past because they won't spend the £3. If you look there, on the one above, can you see there's a little cross with two marks?
Yes.
Yeah? Any ideas?
Why it was made?
Like that. It's the mason's mark.
Ah.
Right? The guy that laid all this stone, the mason that carved it all, completely.
That's his signature.
Couldn't read them right. That was his mark. And it's the same as me signing off on a job sheet. You know, you sign off, clerk of work sees it, he gets paid. Things like this that you tend to just ignore. Hey, every castle needs a loo. Okay, that's what all these are. But these poo chutes go straight down and then open outwards. Okay? You've got the bars across so that even if anybody tried to get in by climbing up, they still couldn't get through the bars.
Right.
But you've got these all over the place. They're called guard ropes. The expression loo. Do you have loo in America?
Sorry.
No, but we are familiar with it.
We're familiar with the term, but yeah.
There's a French word garde-loo, which meant throwing rubbish out of. They'd get like the weed pots and chuck them out the window, and they used to shoot garde-loo. Hence the loo splash. What the reason would be? Everybody used to wear a hat.
2 windows, I see.
Yeah.
Well, you need cross ventilation.
Gotta aerate it.
You just about to end room, you're going up.
They don't label those as loos, huh? For the tourists.
Have you noticed that your 4 towers on the inside are higher than your 4 towers on the outside?
Yes, we talked about that too.
The reason being, should somebody capture the other half of the castle, you've then retreated into your half. And if they capture the towers, you can then go up to the turrets, so you're still higher than they are.
You're still higher.
And you can shoot down on them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, whose names I don't even know, is the whistle-stop tour of Conwy Castle.
What's your name?
Paul Devlin.
Paul Devlin?
Yeah.
We'll go round to see the front now.
Around the, yeah.
Yeah, and there it is. That's where number 6 lives.
This is the place. We'll call it a house.
No.
The prison, we shall say, of number 6.